So a couple days ago, IGN published an article about Batman the Cape Crusader Season 2, where they released some images, and we got to look at some villains that we're going to be getting in there. And so I thought it'd be fun to kind of look through those images and kind of give my thoughts and some theories on how they might treat the characters in Season 2. Obviously, Season 1 makes a lot of changes to several of the villains. I didn't hate Season 1 at all. I didn't love it, though. I think there were a lot of changes that were made. Some I was okay with, some I didn't love. And overall, I'm okay with, an Elseworlds wanting to give a fresh take on something that we all know very well. Hence, like, Absolute Batman that's happening right now in the comic space. But I just didn't love all the changes that they made in Season 1. Overall, though, I did still enjoy the show, and I am looking forward to Season 2. So without further ado, let's go and check out some of these images. So the first one that obviously they're kind of pushing, and we were teased at the end of Season 1 on, is that the Joker is going to be here. We can see him in this image where he's got somebody, maybe a rich man, maybe not. It's the 40s, who can tell? But he's just kind of like shrouded in the background. You can just see his eyes, which is like exactly what they did for Season 1 when they teased him in the last episode. I think it was the last episode. They teased him and you could only see his eyes. You couldn't see anything else. So there are two thoughts that I have about this. One of them being this could be kind of like the take where the Joker doesn't smile, or he can't smile. And so the reason they're not showing his mouth is because he's not smiling. And you can kind of see, like, from his eyes, like he seems very stern or very straight-faced. And, this kind of reminds me of, like, I think it was called, like, The Criminal was the name of the Joker that didn't smile in Three Jokers by Jeff Johns, which I maintain is a great book. I know that that's a very controversial take. I really like Three Jokers, and I like how it ties in other Joker stories throughout history. I'm not personally one of those people that feels like Joker can't have an origin, but that's for another video. So they could be going down that route where it's like, this Joker doesn't smile, he can't smile. Maybe he's, punishing these people because he can't smile, so he's making other people smile with his toxin or laughing gas, however he's doing it here. Or they could be going down the route where maybe he has like a really ugly smile. Maybe he just has like this smile like plastered on his face at all times, like Jack Nicholson's Joker, but it's like really ugly and gross. And they're just kind of like saving that for some big reveal. Like, maybe that's the reason why they're making the eyes look so straight and so stern, is because he has this smile that they're just kind of trying to build up towards. I don't know, obviously. But those are kind of my two theories. It could be either of those two. It could be none of them. But I personally like the idea of, like, him not being able to smile. Although talking about it like the like weird, wacky, like creepy smile could be very cool too. So we'll see. Either way, I'm looking forward to see Joker in here. I do like that we got a little bit of a break of him. Obviously, there's a lot of Joker fatigue. If you are a Batman fan of the movies, the animated series, and the comics, you get a lot of Joker. And so we love Joker, but, we get a lot of it. So I'm glad that they left him out in Season 1, but I am happy to see an interpretation this season. So next we have the Scarecrow, who I initially thought was Firefly. Obviously, he's in Room on Fire, and he has a mask that is similar to what Firefly wears often, with the way that the eyes are designed. But apparently, this is Scarecrow. This is not Firefly. So, he's just like a dude in a suit wearing a mask. So maybe this is taking inspiration from Christopher Nolan's version of Scarecrow, where he's, just a guy in a suit with a creepy mask. So it does look like maybe this is a Plague Doctor mask. I'm not 100% sure. I'm zooming in, but it's pixelated, so I don't know exactly, but it looks like it comes down kind of like a Plague Doctor, which is I mean, I think that's pretty cool, especially for Scarecrow. So I'm interested to see how his abilities work, if it's going to be supernatural at all, or if it's going to be strictly science, and to see why he's just standing in a burning building. Maybe this is like an actual hallucination. Maybe he's gotten Bruce with something, with some of the fear toxin or something, and so this is just like kind of what Bruce is seeing. I don't know. I think, you know, one of the cool things about this point in time before the show has aired is that we can kind of speculate. We have the template of season 1 to know that they're willing to make a lot of changes to these characters for better or for worse. I respect the creativity in which they do it. So it's interesting to think, it's like this person literally could have supernatural powers, being Scarecrow, or it could just be toxin. We don't know anything on how these powers are going to work, and it feels like they could do whatever they want, which is pretty cool to speculate about. So we'll see what ends up happening with Scarecrow, how big of a role Scarecrow has. I like it when Scarecrow is kind of like has a big role, similar to like Arkham Knight or something. But who knows? We'll see how that turns out. Okay, the next one, I'm going to be completely honest. I don't know who this is. I've seen people say this is Roxy Rocket. I've seen people say this is Bullet Man. I've seen people say this is Deadshot. I don't know. It kind of gives like Adam Strange vibes too. I really don't know who this is. We do know that Roxy Rocket, according to the IGN article, is going to be in this show, but we don't know if this is Roxy Rocket. If it is, it looks like they maybe gender swapped her, but I don't know. She already had kind of like a 1940s like pilot outfit in the animated series, so I would be surprised if this was her / him, but I honestly don't know. I think this iteration of like Deadshot would be really cool, but it does also look kind of like Bullet Man. I think that's the right name. I'm not super familiar with his character. And of course, I'd love to see Adam Strange. I highly doubt this is Adam Strange though. But yeah, otherwise, I don't really have much to add here because I have no idea who this is, so I don't know how they might change up the character, but I am excited to see who it might be. Okay, the next one is pretty interesting. So they did the gender swap like they did for the Penguin in season 1, but this time for seemingly the Mad Hatter, or Hattie as she seems to be called in this show. It looks like she has some sort of talk show, Hattie's Tea Party, and I'm down for this one. Like, based off the screenshot, I think this looks pretty cool and interesting. I do wonder how her powers are going to work. If it's going, or rather, not necessarily powers, but like if she's going to do the whole mind control thing, or if it's going to be different and she manipulates people in other ways. What if she like brings people onto the show, like it's a talk show, and she somehow like gets and mind controls them from there, or maybe she sends it out through the TV, and like people watching the TV will get mind controlled, kind of like Deceased, where people get the antivirus in similar means. You know, who knows how this is going to work, or if this is even going to be part of the equation with this character. We don't really know, obviously, but it could be that they're really just going to play on the Alice in Wonderland aspect of it. So like, who knows what they would do there. So yeah, I'm probably the most excited to see the iteration of this character specifically of all the ones that we know about, just because I feel like it has a lot of potential, and I'm pretty interested to see where they take the character, how they base the character, whether it's more Batman's Rogues focused or more like Alice in Wonderland focused. I think there's a lot of potential to make this character like very interesting and different. Okay, and then we get to something else, which is also interesting, and I feel like I've said that for everything so far. This image seems to be, so this is Batman standing in an alley with somebody who seems to be Carrie Kelly, and we saw Carrie in season 1 in that episode with the, was it like the fair or the circus, where they had like Carrie, and they had a bunch of the other little orphans that were all named loosely off of the Robins. So she is in this shot, and she's wearing a Grey Ghost costume, which is super cool. Awesome callback. Great episode in Batman the Animated Series. They also just made a callback to it in Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight game. So I like all of the attention that the Grey Ghost is kind of getting right now. I think that's pretty cool. So it seems, based off of how this is framed in the setting, that Batman has probably not invited this child into like an alley street at night to help him with crime fighting. Maybe she's taken it upon herself. She wants to help. Maybe this is just Halloween. We don't know. But it seems like she might be trying to assist in some way, which of course harkens back kind of to Tim Drake in the animated series, and then also in the comics, being the one to kind of pursue Batman and try to become Robin. But also in the animated series episode where Tim kind of finds, he finds Robin's costume in the Batcave and then goes to help him fight Two-Face. So maybe they're doing something like this. Going to see how reluctant Batman is. I assume he's going to be very reluctant, and I'm interested to see how that dynamic goes. If they pursue how much they pursue the Robin angle is going to be cool to see. And then the last new rogue shot that we get here is of the Riddler, and I don't have too much to say about him specifically because he looks, I'm assuming this is the Riddler, at least it's a guy in a green suit, and he's robbing a bank. He's giving very 1940s mobster, robbing a bank in a suit, wide brim fedora. So I'm interested to see how, again, his abilities or what he brings to the table, how that's going to differ than what we typically know as the Riddler. It does look like Batman is hanging back and not pursuing him in this shot, so I don't know exactly what's happened. I don't know how riddles are going to take place here. We see the question mark bullet shots in another screenshot. Maybe that's a calling card. Maybe that's something else. I don't know. But again, I don't have a whole lot to say about this. I do really like the Riddler. He's one of my favorite Batman villains. But there's not a ton that they're kind of giving me here with this screenshot. So still color me intrigued. I'm excited to see him in the show. So yeah, that was kind of it for all of the screenshots that I wanted to go through. There are a few other ones that are just kind of stills of characters that we know, like Montoya and Harley Quinn and Commissioner Gordon, Barbara Gordon, all kind of standard stuff. Nothing that's too interesting to me. There was one that had I think a bloody bat symbol on the wall, which piqued my interest a little bit. So we'll see what that's all about. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this season. I love any kind of Batman animated project that we can get, even though they've been hit or miss lately. I'm still excited to see it because I love the characters in that world so much. So I'm looking at it in a very optimistic way, and hopefully it delivers. The show airs on July 31st, so literally the same day that Spider-Man Brand New Day comes out. So that'll be kind of a fun double feature. I don't know if I'll see it day of. I'll definitely see Spider-Man day of. So but if not, I'll try and watch some of that weekend. I don't know if it's episodic, if it comes out weekly or if it's all at once. I think season 1 was all at once. So yeah, I'm excited. Also, My Adventures with Superman season 3 comes out June 13th. So I might do a video about that. I'm all caught up on it. It took me a while to get caught up on season 2, but I really liked season 2. I think it was a big improvement over season 1. And so I'm actually really excited to see season 3 because I know that we're getting Cyborg Superman, we're getting Superboy, and some other I think Superman adjacent characters in that season. So I'm very excited for that. But anyways, yeah, looking forward to Cape Crusader season 2 and My Adventures with Superman season 3. And I'm sure more videos will come after this of me talking about them. So stay tuned for that, and I'll catch you guys later.